Welcome back, degenerates, to Place Your Bets. I'm Tyler James, getting ready to pack my raincoat for Raleigh. He's the one and only Eric Hansen. We cover Notre Dame football, recruiting, and more for InsideNDSports.com on the Rivals Network. And we like to make prop bets about Notre Dame football. It turns out that Eric doesn't have all the right answers after his perfect Navy performance, but he's still at the top of the standings with our subscribers with 8 correct bets for the season, alongside Scott Claracy. So Scott's putting the heat on Eric. I am one behind there at 7 with at TCND543 and at We Are ND. So we have some pretty good competition there at the top of the standings. Eric, how much time have you spent in the film room trying to diagnose your mistakes from last week?
0. I just took it on the chin and so forth. I think these questions are the hardest that we've had so far. So we'll see how I do. If I go clean this week and get all 5, then I'll start bragging again.
then you'll be insufferable. We won't be able to be around you.
That's right.
All right. If you're a subscriber, make sure you submit your predictions through the Google form link in the Place Your Bets voting thread on the Insider Lounge. And Eric, let's make some predictions with this week's prop bets for Notre Dame NC State. First one I have for us is over under 2.5 touchdown passes for Sam Hartman.
You know, NC State was a really good pass defense last year, and I think they're going to be really good this year. They were 12th in the country in pass efficiency defense. They gave up more than 2 passing touchdowns once, and weirdly, it was against Boston College, who didn't throw a lot of passing touchdowns against other teams. I think Notre Dame isn't going to score as much as they obviously have in the first 2 games, and I think it's going to be more of a balanced thing. So I'm actually going to go under on this.
Yeah, I'm going under as well. My prediction would be 2 touchdown passes for Sam Hartman. Like you mentioned, NC State's pass defense was really good last year. They allowed 15 total in 13 games, and a lot of its secondary has returned. So there's a lot of talent and experience back there. Certainly, Sam Hartman is averaging 3 touchdown passes per game, so that would be below his average. But I think it's going to be balanced, like you mentioned, and that Notre Dame's certainly not going to, at least I don't think, going to score 6 or 7 touchdowns this Saturday. So I'm predicting 2 touchdown passes for Sam Hartman. All right, who will be second in carries for Notre Dame's offense?
Well, we know it's not going to be Devin Ford because he is out for this game with a concussion, and not that he was that high with carries, so that narrows it down to 3 other people besides Audric Estime. I guess he could conceivably be in that. But I'm going to go with Jabron Payne. He's number 2 on the season in carries. I know Jeremiah Love is kind of surging with his production, but they've been pretty consistent about giving Jabron Payne the ball on 3rd and 4th down. I think that'll probably continue at least in this game. So Payne is my pick.
Yeah, I'm with you there. He's had 12 carries this season. I think his pass pro is something that's valued, and I think Notre Dame's going to be in more situations where that's important in a closer game this week than the last 2 weeks in a hostile environment. I think Dylan McCullough trusts Jabron Payne a lot, so I think he will get plenty of opportunities. I really wanted to go with Jeremiah Love because I think that speed that he has on the edge could cause problems for NC State. That was something that Victor Rosa of UConn was able to do against NC State in the first week. So I do think Jeremiah Love will have a chance to get some good yardage, but I think Jabron Payne will be second in carries for Notre Dame this weekend. All right, next one I have for us is over under 44.5 rushing yards for NC State quarterback Brennan Armstrong.
This was a tough one. Well, I mean, he was Virginia's starting quarterback for 3 years, and he was Virginia's leading rusher for 3 years. But those averages per game have bounced around. Last year, I think it was a little bit under 40 a game. There was 1 year he was down about 22, and then in 2000 he averaged almost 70 yards a game rushing. He had 96 against Connecticut. I just think where I was torn was I think Notre Dame's going to make one mistake against him where he gets a long run. But I think overall they're going to be really good against him. So I ended up going with under.
All right. I thought you were going to go the other way, the way you were talking about that. But I'm going over. Like you mentioned, he was the leading rusher for NC State against UConn. He rushed for more than 45 yards in 5 games last season. The biggest thing for me that pushed me to the over is that I'm not sure that he has enough playmakers around him that he trusts and that will be able to bail him out. So I think he's going to end up defaulting to running a lot. And I think NC State
Tyler,
is trying.
He does have the third 8th-year senior ever to play college football to throw to.
That is true. I talked about him with JC Zembo from our NC State site in a video we did with the Wolfpack Central. Quite an interesting story there. But yeah, it's just they have guys that they hope are going to make improvements, but I think they're maybe a year behind where Notre Dame is at with its receivers. I think they got some young guys that can maybe make some plays, but I'm just not sure that at this point of the season, Brennan Armstrong is there with those guys. And so I think a lot of times he's going to just sort of tuck it and run because I think Notre Dame is going to put some pressure on him as well. All right, next one. Will Notre Dame intercept a pass?
They have in the first 2 games. Armstrong averages kind of about 1 a game during his career as a starter. So I will say he will throw 1 in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I think it's 22 interceptions the previous 2 seasons. I just think we're due for a Benjamin Morrison or a Cam Hart interception with them coming through with a big play for the defense. So I am predicting an interception as well. All right, next one. Over under 1.5 sacks for Notre Dame's defense.
I was very torn here. Notre Dame's had 3 in the first 2 weeks combined. Now it was funny because there were hardly any opportunities against Navy and they got 2.
Right.
They've had a lot of pressures without sacking the quarterback, and it's shown up in their pass efficiency defense. They're the number 1 pass efficiency defense in the Power 5. I just have a feeling that they're going to get at least 2 in this game. I just think NC State is going to probably play from behind in the second half, and that's going to lead to at least a second sack, if not a little bit more. I don't think it's going to be like 5. NC State has been really good at protecting their quarterbacks. I read your NC State info story, and it looked like some of their offensive linemen were some of their higher graders in terms of PFF grades and so forth. But I think Notre Dame can throw a lot of people at them personnel-wise. And I think we're going to see some wrinkles from the Notre Dame defense, too, in terms of pressures, and that's going to surprise Virginia. North Carolina State. I'm thinking of Armstrong's old team. Yeah, Virginia's going to be super surprised since they're not really playing surprised in
the game. Yeah, I'm going over as well. I think that Notre Dame is going to be aggressive with different pass rush looks. The key, obviously, will be containing Armstrong and making sure that Notre Dame isn't too aggressive. I do think that will probably happen sometimes where he'll be able to break containing and pick up some yardage or keep plays alive. But I also think that's going to lead to multiple sacks as well. So I am going with over. All right. Next one for fun. Will footage of the 2016 ND NC State game be shown before the first quarter ends?
If it's not shown before the game even starts, they should be spanked because that was remarkable. These teams have only played 3 times previously. That was one of them. So if they don't show that, and it's the only time it's been in that stadium that they've played. So yeah, that would be a real, I would stake my reputation as the top of the standings tied guy on Place Your Bets on that actually happening.
Yeah, I agree. The footage is just too good. Even though Eric and I can't seem to find the same forecast for Raleigh on Saturday, the chance of rain apparently is there, even though it's not supposed to be a hurricane weather level rain. So I do think that they'll have, even if it was sunny out, the footage is just too good. You gotta put that on air and have some people look at that and just remember why did we play football there? Unless somehow like the ESPN's like, well, we're in bed with the ACC, so we don't want to make them look bad for continuing to play that game, which probably shouldn't have been played in the first place. But I think they're gonna. It's gonna be too hard to pass up showing exactly what that looked like in an absolute downpour and basically what looked like a flood on the football field. All right. Lastly, Eric, what is your final score prediction for Notre Dame NC State?
I'm going to say Notre Dame 31, NC State 20.
All right. I thought we were going to have the same answer because I have Notre Dame 31, NC State 17. I couldn't convince myself to get NC State into the 20s. The offense didn't impress me enough against UConn. Now, obviously, it's the first game. Things can develop, and maybe they'll have a chance to make some plays at home against Notre Dame. But I think Notre Dame should be able to win this one by a couple touchdowns, so I'm going 31-17. All right, that'll do it for Place Your Bets. If you are an InsideNDSports.com subscriber, don't forget to submit your predictions through the link on the Insider Lounge, as I mentioned earlier. And for everyone, make sure you hit the like button, share with us your predictions for the game in the comments, and subscribe to us here on YouTube. Eric is begging you. We'll be back after the game for our post-game takeaways, and may the odds ever be in your favor.